Now let's warmly welcome the next speaker, Professor Eric Xu. I'm pleased to introduce Eric first. Eric is a professor of the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, honorary advisor to Correctional Service Department, Hong Kong government, honorary advisor to Police College, Hong Kong Police, and Eric Xu is a associate director of the Behavior and Knowledge Energy Research Center and a senior educational development officer in the Educational Development Center at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. He's a regional editor of Journal of Knowledge Management, lead and delivered a master knowledge management program for more than 15 years. He's also the leader of a professional certificate and covering the topics of knowledge management, big data, and industry 4.0. Professor Xu is an honorary advisor in knowledge management to the 3 Hong Kong government departments, and also provide consultancy and professional services to many private organizations, NGOs in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Australia, Japan, and Brunei. He has a Bachelor of Science, PhD, and MBA qualifications. Wow, he's really expert in this industry. And Professor Xu, I know you have another speaker with you together today, right? Dr.
Yes, he's also online, Dr. Liu Gang.
Liu Gang, right. Associate Professor at Shenzhen Technology University, the PhD in Knowledge and Technology Management at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. And both Dr. Xu and Dr. Liu will give us a lecture, retention and transfer of Tencent knowledge. Please, this is your time.
Thank you. So let me start. I assume that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jack, for that introduction. So just repeating briefly, the title of our talk is Retention and Transfer of Tacit Knowledge, and some of the challenges, major challenges. And Dr. Liu Gang, we also talked about some of the case studies and solutions as well. Now, Jack has already described us, so no need to spend time on that anymore. Just a recap, just a summary of what we're going to cover in the next 35-40 minutes. It's about, firstly, we're going to highlight the importance and characteristics of tacit knowledge, not just any general knowledge, but tacit knowledge in particular, you know, in organizations, in knowledge flow. And we're going to talk about a concept called knowledge diffusion, because in an organization, knowledge change in different forms. You know, we learn, we discuss, we share, and so forth. It's through this diffusion, knowledge is being transformed and then communicated to other people. But it's also due to this diffusion, there are leakages and risk involved. Of course, then we looked at what are the commonly applied methods in knowledge management that our company used to deal with, you know, reducing the leakage and enhancing the flow or capturing of tacit knowledge. You know, some of those are more effective than others. Some have, you know, special conditions which needs to be understood in order to apply it effectively. You know, of course, we also discuss about the major challenges, why tacit knowledge has been such a pain for organization. You know, not just in industry, but as Professor, you know, Frederick mentioned in the previous session, also in academia as well, it's the problem of tacit knowledge, right? And as I said, Dr. Liu Gang is going to walk us through a number of case studies very briefly. And finally, I get very excited, and we're going to officially launch a global survey on tacit knowledge management. And we're going to do that towards the end of our presentation. And you have plenty of opportunities to complete it for us. Right. Well, I can't stress anymore. I think everyone would agree that organizations are crying out for the loss of knowledge and knowledge leakages. This is just one of the many articles that I intercepted. This one is, only a few weeks ago. And once again, organizations are at a loss about, the deep leakages and loss of tacit knowledge, how to retain it, how to ensure that more and more people are, as you say in English, on the same page. Now, in order to stress the importance of tacit knowledge, I'm going to play this short video, and we can have a short discussion after this. I find this to be an excellent example of illustrating the importance of tacit knowledge. Remember what it said? Efforts is important, but knowing where to tap make it all the difference, right? So knowing where to tap your hammer to get your engine started is tacit knowledge. It's not something that you can train people every day to learn about it. It's not something that you can write everything about this in the textbook. So it's all tacit, it's contextual, it's experiential, and it's something that carries in the mind of the people rather than explicitly written in textbooks, right? So here we go, and this diagram further illustrates the complexity of tacit knowledge, well, as opposed to explicit knowledge. You see, explicit knowledge are things that we can see above the water surface, right? Put it this way: if we draw the analogy of a cruiser, sailing in the Antarctic, and you see an iceberg, you can see the iceberg surfacing above the water. But guess what? If you send a diver down there and you find that underneath the water, submerged, there's much bigger part of the iceberg underneath, and that's something that you cannot see, and that is the worry, because tacit knowledge is a lot more. We can't put a finger around it, we can't describe it, we can't quantify it, and we don't even know that where they are, and we don't even know how to express it. Come back on this point later on. In terms of organizational theories, it has evolved from different theories in the last few decades. May I just focus on the last one, which is a knowledge-based view of the firm. The modern thinking is that finally, academics and academics and industry people agree that knowledge is very important to an organization, about the creation of knowledge so that organizations become more innovative, about the flow of knowledge so that more and more people are aware about what's happening inside the firm, who is doing what, who is an expert in certain area, and why is this decision being made, and so forth. And that all requires, the transmission and sharing of knowledge effectively, both explicit and tacit knowledge. That said, in order to reinforce this concept even further, I draw on the late Professor Max Boysott's concept of I-space. I-space is is a framework that describes how knowledge actually evolves in an organization. On the right hand side, you see a cube like an organization, right? An organization with a cube in the size of a cube, and in there you can see vapors, vapors of air. What it's trying to describe is knowledge comes in different forms, and in an organization, it flows and transforms. During that transformation, it may get codified. During that transformation, it may get shared. During that transformation, it may get diffused. In other words, more and more people learn about that knowledge or part of that knowledge, okay? And then they may speak about it. They may, create something different, to what they have heard or what they have read. And then here we go, the tacit knowledge cycle begins again, Now, it's through this cycle that I-SPICE specifies that knowledge get codified, get diffused, get learned by people, and then they get codified again. Now, here's the problem. When knowledge is being codified, we all know that knowledge is something that is situational. So, in other words, we have to describe the context as well. And in I-SPICE, they call it the dimensions. So there are different dimensions that qualify knowledge, and everybody knows that. Look, there's no way we have the resources, the time to codify all the dimensions, right? We can only codify some of the dimensions, which typically are the ones that we believe is important, but then drop the rest, assuming that these dimensions would remain the same. The knowledge transmit throughout the organization, but often it is not, and that's the origin of the knowledge leakage, because we never have the effort, the time, and the tools to codify all the dimensions, and it's not technically possible as well. So what's the extent of the loss of knowledge? Wow, look at this, internal sources. Organizations are surrounded by a huge amount of information. That's your, your paperwork, your project templates, your project reports, your, the proposals, and meeting minutes, and so forth. How much of these are being codified and properly stored? Well, that's a question mark. I would say that many of those, that may not be codified, and even they are codified, they may not be put in the right place. And then there's also external sources. Wow, that's even more serious, because very, very little, of these get codified. These are things that on the internet. These are things that outside the organization, and on many occasions, the organization doesn't even know of such information. There's an information glut, there's an information awareness problem. So therefore, let alone expecting organization to be able to make good use of this external knowledge to enhance the operation. If they can, that would be wonderful, because research has indicated that effective use or integration of external knowledge into an organization's internal knowledge, it's a wonderful contributor to innovation. So let's take a look a bit more about exactly where the leakages are, okay? So in an organization, we got people, we've got people working in different groups, we got people working in projects, and people talk to each other. So there are leakages, because most of the conversations are not codified, of course. And then project teams, they also have leakages. And then if you look at the right-hand side, organizations have different units. So there's flow of knowledge, some flow of knowledge from one unit to another unit, but many of the knowledge are also not, retained. So there are leakages there as well. Then when you come to repositories, many organizations create repositories, documents, and links, and so forth, and they may not be codifying everything, as I said before, and they could be put in the wrong place as well. So even with the use of technology and with good practices, still there are leakages. So the situation is quite serious. If you appreciate what I've been talking about here, it is quite serious in terms of the lack of effective transfer of tacit knowledge and the knowledge leakages that exist in the organization. Well, that's not the end of your problem. In organizations, organizations every day have to deal with what job losses, people leaving the organization, right? So there's the usual turnover, that people walking out of the organization. And then further, complicated by retirement, the retirement issues. And everybody knows, for the last 15 years, we have had a much bigger group of retirement than the usual range. Why? Because of the baby boomers, the people who were born after the Second World War. That's people who were born, what that including me, between 1945 and 1960. If you add 60 to 65 years to this age range, you will see that we're at the end. In fact, I think we would finish already, end of the retirement period of these people. The world has never seen this large band of people before. They were born, much bigger than the average birth rate because of the, unfortunately, the loss of lives after the Second World War. But these group of people have left the workplace, right, because of retirement. And of course, their roles will be filled by the junior staff. But I would say that there are concerns about the newly moving staff. They may not be as capable as the retired staff, and they are surely lacking a lot of experience that otherwise they are expected to possess in order to take over those roles. So the writings on the wall, we cannot stress anymore that the importance of retaining and sharing tacit knowledge. There's linkages, there is retirement, there is turnover, and so forth. We must act to reduce or even stop. Well, I don't think we can stop, but reduce would be a much better word. The extent of knowledge leakages. Well, allow me to turn to the methods very briefly, and we won't have time to talk about all these methods, but you can run your eyes over this table. You'll see that these are the commonly applied methods to try to elicit part of the tacit knowledge and have that retain it and share to a wider group of people in organizations. They are, technology-based method, they are process-based method, they are cultural-based method, they are people-based methods, right? And I'm sure that when you look deeper into this, just like David DeLong has said in his book, when you apply this method, be very careful about knowing the limitations of this method. Some are designed to deal with tacit knowledge, some are designed to deal with explicit knowledge. And each of the methods have different qualifications in terms of their applicability, the time to learn, the time to transfer, and the effectiveness. So one needs to be very careful when assessing these methods and when choosing these methods in particular. Well, in that regard, I especially encourage you to attend the rest of the 2 days, because when I look at the program today and tomorrow, I see that many other experts are going to talk about individual methods that I've covered in the previous slide, and talk about how they have used those methods to hopefully, to reduce some of the knowledge leakages. Well, before I head over to Dr. Liu Gang, just to wrap up about the difficulties in managing knowledge, tacit knowledge. Why is it very difficult? Well, again, you can't put a finger on it. You can't describe it in full. We don't have a format to express it. And, even if you want to do it, we don't know the methods. We don't have the tools to handle tacit knowledge. A lot more research is needed, right? And organization may be difficult in trying to work out the return on investment and effort that they spend on tacit knowledge. And again, there is, in my opinion, lack of support at the strategic level, and that is very important. And trust is also another factor that governing the success of knowledge transfer in organization. Always, this trust factor. All right, I'm going to ask Dr. Liu Gang to come online, and he's going to walk us through several, mini case studies about how organizations have dealt with the problem of tacit knowledge. Dr. Liu Gang.
Thank you, Professor Cui. Now it's my turn. Hello, everyone. Now it's my turn to give you a case study about knowledge retention and transfer in a company. To begin with, let me give you a brief introduction about Company A. Company A provides the largest online market in the world. Since launching its first website, helping small and medium-sized enterprises in China to sell internationally, Company A has grown into a digital ecosystem with businesses comprising international commerce, local consumer services, package delivery, cloud, digital media, and others. The founder team know the importance of knowledge management. Despite the company initiated some KM projects, there are still some challenges. First, as a large group company, each unit has its own customer service department. Customer service providers can only visit their own repository and feel difficult to interact with other customer service providers in different subunits. Second, R&D engineers create many dispersed wikis, and it is hard to integrate knowledge. Third, in operation department, employees were used to learning through emails, instant messenger groups, websites methodically. Fourth, employees in sales department depend on learning through talking and apprenticeship, which is difficult to accumulate knowledge and tend to lose knowledge. To sum up, knowledge differentiation, repetition, dispersion, and loss are 4 critical issues in Company A. Next page, please. The Company A needs an integrated and unified KM platform to solve the just mentioned problems. Therefore, they developed 4 objectives of KM. First, it aims to improve organizational efficiency and avoid reinventing the wheel. That means employees can avoid making the same mistakes of others. Second, Company A is in the internet industry, in which changing and developing are extremely fast. The company has to seek more innovative business than others to sustain its cutting edge, especially in an uncertain environment. Third, the company wants to establish an ecosystem to manage its knowledge so that employees can share knowledge freely. Finally, the company also includes employee development into its KM objectives because the company believes that people and their knowledge are the most valuable resources for the company. Next page, please. To address the above mentioned issues, Company A developed a KM model named AK49. A represents its company's name, K represents knowledge, 4 represents 4 links, 4 enablers, and none represents 9 elements. Since time limited today, we will focus on one of the 4 links, knowledge exchange management. Next page, please. I will introduce 2 practices of Company A for its tacit knowledge transfer and retention. The first one is Ask-to-See platform. It is necessary to introduce fragmentation for KM in the internet era. Based on the rapid business development and innovation of internet companies, the knowledge of internet companies also undergoes rapid updates and iterations. Therefore, a way of adapt to the rapid update of KM is needed. So fragmented KM and the learning methods are introduced into the company. Used fragmented time to produce and consume fragmented content to spread fragmented knowledge. In order to take the advantages of fragmentation, the company developed a question and answer platform named Ask-to-See. On this platform, the employees are free to raise questions and experts will provide answers. And the picture here shows the framework of this platform. Next page, please. Next page. Such a question and answer platform is a visible tool that can transform tacit knowledge into explicit knowledge, retain and transfer knowledge. The position of the platform is to solve all the problems an employee encountered in the daily work, not only provide standard answers, but also offer a platform for open-ended discussion like Zhuhu or Quarrel. Employees can generate and consume fragmented knowledge through this question and answer platform. The platform itself does not produce any content. It enables smooth linkage between people, question, and people. Therefore, people and knowledge can cycle through this mechanism. The content and operation of this platform focus on providing a channel that can meet the knowledge needs of users. Compared with the traditional method, this fragmented method has the following advantages. The cost of producing knowledge is reduced. The dissemination of knowledge is more rapid and convenient. The cost of consuming knowledge is reduced, and the efficiency is improved. The expert's knowledge is retained on the platform, preventing knowledge loss. It also supports tacit explicit knowledge transformation. Next page, please. The second practice in Company A is developing a professional committee. In tradition, employees were trained to improve their skills. These training programs are managed and developed by a training center. The lecturers develop courses and the trainees take the courses. There are three problems in this traditional training mode. First, in terms of learning, the employees passively obtain the knowledge with very little participation. It is difficult for employees to absorb knowledge in the single way of knowledge pool. Second, in terms of training content, it highly depends on the lecturer's capability to extract tacit knowledge. Sometimes the employees cannot obtain what they need from the lecturers. Third, in terms of training management, the training center had to spend a lot of time and resources to organize the training. To address these problems, Company A started to build an expert-centered open learning organization called Professional Committee that employees can learn from each other in specialized field. Next page, please. Success operation of committees needs 5 factors. First, mutual objective and vision. At present, there are many 2 types of professional committee. Problem-solving oriented committee, such as data security committee, and learning growth committee, such as marketing planning committee. Second, a core team. The committee is an open platform based on interest comprising a group of passionate and experienced core members. The leaders of the committee is experts in the field, and there are many key members as well. All of them drive the operation of the committee and deliver different types of learning, innovation, and organizing. Third, an open and free culture is very important for the operation of the committee because committee is comprised of employees from different business units at different levels. It is necessary to gather the employees with the same interest to create value. Fourth, continuous motivation plays a critical role in professional committee because the committee are self-organizing communities. So the reward will be given to the committee members based on the value that they created. Finally, the committee changes the traditional way of training and provides various forms of learning activities, such as practice, experience project, field platform development, field practical collaboration. Besides knowledge sharing and learning, it offers more interesting knowledge transferring mode. In conclusion, for successful tacit knowledge retention and transferring, practitioners need to foster a knowledge-friendly organizational culture, obtain enough support from top management, formulate a specialized KM team, and design an appropriate motivation system. If you want to know more KM cases, especially those Chinese organizations, you can read the book, The Secret of Knowledge Plus Practice, edited by Wu Qinghai, Wang Meng, Xia Jinhua. Next page. On the other hand, if you are interested in more about KM practices from literature, you can check some of our recent published papers on KM practices and organizational performance. The findings of these studies are based on thousands of research subjects and offer some significant managerial implications for better managing knowledge in organizations. Now, let me pass it to Professor Cui. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Liu, for the detailed case study. And let me finish this presentation with the final slide. And that is, with much delight, I would like to, declare that we are opening a Tacit knowledge management organizational survey. And, there's a link to, there's a QR code that you can actually scan and complete this survey. And I've also deposited the link in the chat line just now. Now, we highly value this survey because we want to reach out to as many organizations in different countries, in different industries as possible. And we're also treating this survey this time as a baseline, as for a yearly yardstick for comparison. So you may assume that we'll continue to track the Tacit knowledge status situation in worldwide organizations, including China, of course, and then we'll report on the advancement of the organizations in their efforts in tackling Tacit knowledge management on a yearly basis. So it's a very important survey for all of us. I encourage and hope for your support.
Yeah,
this survey is co-designed by the Bake Knowledge Center at PolyU with GO-TKM, and the survey will be analyzed by the Shenzhen Technology University.
thank you.
Finally,
Thank you, Professor.
That's contact details for both of us, and I repeated the QR code for the survey at the top two corners. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Xu and Dr. Liu. Thank you so much for your holistic introduction about Tencent knowledge management, and also ask the challenge, right? How to stop this knowledge leakage and provide your ask to see the platform. It's wonderful. And I would encourage everybody go to this survey and provide your insight observation about Tencent knowledge management. Thank you so much, Professor Xu and Dr. Liu. Thank you.